Hello friends, welcome back to the channel. My name is Nate. Welcome to February's TBR. Today we will be taking on episode 2 of the TBR Banquet. I have printed it. I've backed it on polystyrene, which I'm actually not sure of that choice now because yeah, it hasn't made it that much more sturdy and it's kind of like flimsy and slightly annoying, but it's printed. It's here we go, episode 2. First of all, I'd like to say a huge thank you to everyone that was so supportive on the first video episode for this new TBR game. Really appreciate that. Love to see you guys' enjoyment of it. That was meant so much to me, so thank you so much for that. If you are new to this, however, the aim of the game is for my heroes to make their way through the banquet, picking up books with the ultimate goal of defeating a dragon. There are 10 heroes to defeat 10 dragons, and in doing so, in defeating all of the dragons, I will unlock the cure to the book buying ban, which I am on for however long this basically takes me. And I will say, we're not off to the best start, so let's look at January's progress. So in January, my wizard character was going up against the green dragon, and I will say I ended up getting 8 books. I did go wrong in gameplay and ended up getting more books than I necessarily would have, but I don't think that ended up really mattering. These are the books that I ended up getting. So this is the stack, and out of this 8 stack, I've only read and or think I will be finished by the end of the month 3. I have read some other books throughout January, but I'll be honest, January I actually kind of felt a bit slumpy throughout the month. It took me a while to really get into some of these books. I feel like this last week I'm feeling like I'm getting out of the slump, so I'm feeling quite good to go into February. But yeah, I've read these 2 and I will be hopefully finishing Paladin's Grace, but that's it otherwise. So it's safe to say my wizard was unsuccessful in his challenge. He returns home and he's going to go for a long rest. I will not pick either of these out in consecutive months. They'll be going at the bottom of the pile. In terms of prompts, because I do want to try and like use up all the prompts, I read 2, so Secondhand Book and Pretty Cover were read, I believe. So the other 2 picks that I didn't get to, which were Middle Grade and Gem Pick, will be going back into the pile, but again, they will be going at the bottom of the shuffled pile, so I don't get them 2 months in a row. So without further ado, let's jump into roll number 1 for February. I'm pumped. Let's see what hero will be facing to take on at the TBR Banquet. So we are all set up, ready to go. All the cards are shuffled, but I need to pick out my hero to start the game with. So for February, we will be playing with the Beast Tamer. He lets you read the dragon book whenever. Perfect. So let's go in with roll number 1. I will still be playing with a d20, and I'm going to just use this as my counter. Roll number 1 for February is a 10. Lovely. So we go through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And that is a yellow. So we picked out our Beast Tamer, so I can read the dragon book whenever. If you're new to this game, basically the only real rule in terms of the dragon book is it has to be read last. Because the Beast Tamer can tame beasts, you can read the dragon book whenever. That way then, because the dragon prompts tend to be harder prompts, if it's a big book, I could start it earlier and hopefully complete the game. That is the goal for this month. I had completely kind of forgot what the hell yellow was. How terrible is that? It's been a month. Then I remembered yellow is for my Beat the Backlist TBR jar. If you guys have watched, I have put up a TBR video for the Beat the Backlist. All of those books are in this jar and I really want a priority of reading them. That's why they've got their own spot. Eventually this will just become a physical TBR jar, but for now it's Beat the Backlist. So let's pick out a random one for the month of February. This will be the first book. I'm excited. I'm excited to see what it is because I do want to do my first Beat the Backlist vlog in February, at least start it. So this is a good choice for that. Let's go with, okay, we've got loads there. Let's just, this is the one. This is the winner, the green. What book is this? This says, oh my God. Is that the right way up? I don't think it is. Is that the right way up? I think so. Jade City. Okay. Let me grab it. Okay, so Jade City by Fondly is our first pick, and as you can see, I'm actually already like over halfway into this book. I read this book once, got about halfway, put it down, then decided to reread it, got over halfway and then put it down again. And so I'm probably not going to reread it again. I might end up just starting a bit before. And honestly, there's no real reason why I put this book down other than I think I was just reading other things because I was loving it. I was really enjoying this book, really liked the magic system, really enjoy our characters. Something happened about halfway through this book that I was genuinely really surprised about in terms of what I thought the book was going to end up being. Ended up flipping it on a head with a specific character's journey. And so like I'm really invested and really interested in actually finally reading this book and then carrying on with the series. So there's no reason why I shouldn't have read it. I don't know, it's just one of those books that ends up falling to the wayside. But this is a urban adult fantasy book about a city where they can harness this power of jade and it makes them kind of be able to do magic, and that only really these people on this island have this ability. However, it looks like outside forces are kind of making a kind of synthetic version where anyone can harness this ability, which then makes the jade itself quite coveted, and there is stuff to do with gangs and who has control over the jade, has control over the power, and that kind of thing. Really interesting, really nice concept. This is split POV between 3 or 4 different characters, and I have really enjoyed all of them, so I'm really looking forward to seeing where it actually goes and actually finishing this book, which yeah, I'm actually really glad, because also this has been on my currently reading on Goodreads, I think since like 2022 or 2023. So it's been a while. So yeah, finally glad to actually put this on, and I probably am, well, I won't say definite because we saw how January went, but I'm feeling confident that I'll get to this in February. On to roll number 2. Is a 20, a lush. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 20. And that is a prompt card. So the prompt is a primary colour on the spine. So I have no idea what's wrong with me. I did not notice that I, for some reason, skipped 8 whole numbers and I only noticed now while editing. We're just going to go with it. I don't think it would have meant I would have gotten less books for the game, but yeah, that's 2 months in a row that I've messed up my own game. And this time was because of basic counting. Why I went from 11 to 20, I have no idea, but apologies for that. So for on 2, we got a prompt of primary colour on the spine, and so I'm going to look at the TBR card for this since I really do want to try and get to some of these 26 and 26. So let's have a look, shall we? Now obviously we've got blue, 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 blue. Have we got much going on around the back? I'm trying to also think about genre-wise. So that's a fantasy, so it'd be quite nice to maybe have something else. But I also do want to try and get to my 26 and 2026. I've got Paper Towns, and for some reason that is really like sticking out in my head to read. It's a contemporary middle YA, I think, which I don't tend to read a ton of, but I did really enjoy The Fault in Our Stars by John Green. It's only just over 300 pages. You know what? Random as hell, but I think I'm going to go for this for primary colour on the spine. Like I said, this is a YA contemporary story. Quentin Jacob, who has always loved Margot from afar, so when she climbs through his window to summon him on an all-night road trip for a revenge he cannot help but follow, but the next morning Q turns up to school and Margot doesn't. She's left clues of her disappearance like a trail of breadcrumbs for Q to follow, and everything leads to one unavoidable question: who is the real Margot? I also think this had a movie, which I never watched. Yeah, I'm going to put this on as well, because this also is one of my older ones as well, so it could also work really nicely for that vlog. I can see myself getting to this in February. It's not like I'm, yeah, just looking at it. You know, sometimes when you just see a book and you're like, actually that one, that's the kind of feeling I need to go for, because I'm not really a mood reader, but if I'm like, see something that actually, like, okay, that spikes my interest, maybe I should read it now while it's still spiking my interest. So yeah, really random, but book 2 is going to be Paper Towns by John Green. Roll number 3. Is a 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. That is yellow again, which is perfect. That is TBR jar again. Roll number 3, TBR jar again. So let's pick out another random book. We're going to go for the purple. These are, again, some of the oldest books that I have. Can anybody see that? Okay, this is Uprooted. I put this book on quite a few TBRs. Okay, so we have Uprooted by Naomi Novik. This has definitely been on TBRs before in the past, and I don't know why, but when I read the synopsis and when I think it sounds interesting, but I just have never been urged to get into it. It's a kind of fairy tale retelling, I think a kind of Beauty and the Beast, maybe, or Sleeping Beauty or something, but it's about a young girl from a village that their village is protected by this like wizard creature that lives in a big castle. He comes every 10 years, a young woman from the village must serve him, and I think the main character thinks her friend's going to be picked, but she ends up getting picked. And I imagine it's potentially going to be a love story between the two. I don't actually know if it is though. So yeah, I started to read one other thing by Naomi Novik, which was Deadly Education, and I didn't really vibe with her writing style in that book. So maybe that also has been why I've been slightly put off about starting anything else by her. I never ended up even finishing it, but I think I would like, yeah, I've owned it for a while though, and I would like to give it a try and actually see what it is. It's a standalone as well, which is nice, a standalone fantasy. I probably will like it. It's just kind of getting into it. That is the 3rd book though for February. I think we're making good progress around the board. So let's jump in with roll number 4. And this is roughly where I messed up last time. So I need to remember which way we're actually heading in terms of the board. So let's go on to roll number 4. Roll number 4 is a 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15, which is another prompt card, and that is for a African author. So for book 4, I got another prompt of African author, and I'm starting a new series. We don't need to be starting a new series, but we are, and that is going to be, I'm going to start the Gilded Ones. This is by Namina Fornia. This is a YA fantasy, I believe. It says, in this bold and immersive fantasy, a young heroine fights to save a world that would dare tame her and discover she is her own fiercest weapon. Yeah, I think it's going to have a lot of like African mythology. The author is from Sierra Leone. So I bought this, sorry, I just realized I bought this secondhand. Okay, someone clearly was going to tab it and then never ended up tabbing it. Or they did tab it and took it out, but they've written their tabs in the book. Oh, and it's actually got a thing of a signed, which, yeah, I've never noticed. It's clear I've never opened this book before. That's quite cool though. So yeah, anyway, first published in 2021, so not as old as I thought it was. I haven't really heard that many people talk about it actually, so I don't actually know how popular it is, how well liked it is, but it's one that I have the first 2 books of, so I might as well try reading them, and it sounds interesting. So this is going to be the 4th book though for African author. When picking these books, I do really want to, from the game up, try and pick books from my physical TBR, which this led me to realise that I don't have a ton of books by African authors on my physical TBR, which is something I would like to change, so I could have a more like diverse reading throughout my collection. But this is one that I do have, so I'm going to be reading this one, and yeah, like, excited to start it. Love a fantasy series, love a YA series, just need to finish them. So hopefully this one doesn't end up on that list in another 5 years' time as an incomplete series. Let's jump into roll number 5 then for February. Roll number 5 for February, and we need to remember we're going up, not down this time. A 4. Okay, a very small one. So that gives me 1, 2, 3, 4. That lands me on BB, which is Borrow Box. So for roll number 5, I got BB, which stands for Borrow Box. This is the only spot on the board that is basically going to prompt me to not pick from my physical collection, because usually on Borrow Box I either have series that I'm listening to only on audiobook or book club books I try and get through audiobook as well, if they're ones as well I'm not sure I'm going to like. And I have actually 3 books that were from my Borrow Box that are on this list, so I'm going to actually just mention them all, and my intention is to read them all, but I'll just mention them. First off, I have them And the Mountain Echoed. This is by Khaled Hosseini. This is my friend book club. This is a story about, I'm not actually quite sure, 2 kids though, I believe, around in Afghanistan. I've read A Thousand Splendid Suns by this author and it was very good, so I'm looking forward to this one as well. I'm sure I will quite enjoy it. I also have Lord Edward Dies coming on there at the moment, reserved for me, which is the next book in the Hercule Poirot series. This is a short classic crime detective series, so yeah, I'm definitely going to read this as well, so like I might as well mention it. And then the third one I have is A Gift for Dying. This is a American crime thriller, but also involving some elements of supernatural. This is my family book club pick, and again, it will definitely be getting read, so I might as well mention it. This is a series about he's not actually a detective, he is a like child psychologist, and he ends up meeting a girl who is involved in this murder, and she can basically kind of see the future of people in terms of when they're going to die, and it's kind of like a mystery in that sense, so it's kind of comes under supernatural crime on Borrow Box. So far I've already started this one, at least I haven't the other 2, and it's interesting so far. So yeah, those 3 are definitely going to be getting read, so those all 3 are going to go on for this spot, which I was going to say is stupid, but they're all going to be getting read anyway, because 2 of the book clubs need to be read in depth for February, and Lord Edward Dies is probably about a 6-hour audiobook. So let's go on to roll number 6. Roll number 6. We have a 19. Lovely. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Okay, wow, I didn't realize that would take me to the end. 19. Dragon book. So the dragon we will be facing for February is, oh, I nearly dropped it. The Black Dragon, technically. My black ink wasn't working. A read-only classic. Okay, roll number 6 got us to the end. I didn't actually think 19 would get us to the end, although I don't know why I made the board, and so I should know in theory how many spaces are in each row, but clearly I don't. So for number 5, I got the Black Dragon, which you can't tell is the Black Dragon because the ink didn't print, and that is to do a read-only classic. A lot of my classics I do dual. I will physically read while listening to the audiobook. It helps me get through some of them because some of them are quite a bit like harder for my brain to comprehend sometimes, but yeah. So for this one though is a read-only as a bit of a challenge, and I'm going to go for The Secret Garden. This is by Frances Hodgson Burnett, and I think this is a relatively more like modern-esque one. I think it was the early 1900s. Okay, it's a late 1800s book, so I think it should be relatively easy to read. It's also not a huge one, and it's one that I know is like, I definitely have probably watched the movie at some point in my life, especially as a kid. I cannot remember it for the life of me. I believe that it's about some cousins and they discover a secret garden. That's about it. That's about all I know. But yeah, I think it will be a nice one, and because I have my Beast Tamer, I can start this at the beginning of February and don't have to worry about saving it to the end. So I actually think this could be a win month. I don't want to toot my horn too early, but I think it could be a win month. So let's go over the books that are going to be reading, hopefully in February. So technically, because I've put 3 books on for my Borrow Box, this is technically 8, but I have the 3 for Borrow Box, Gift for Dying, And the Mountain Echoed, and Lord Edward Dies. Books that I will be hopefully physically reading throughout February are The Secret Garden for a read-only classic, The Gilded Ones for a African author, Uprooted, a TBR jar pick, Paper Downs for primary colour on the spine, and Jade City for a TBR jar pick. I think that is such a manageable amount, especially seeing as I've already basically read most of Jade City. Well, I've already read over half of Jade City. There's no reason I shouldn't be able to do this in February, especially with, like, I do average about 7 to 8 books a month, including the audiobooks, so I don't think there's any reason I shouldn't be able to do this. And I'm actually really looking forward to it. I have a nice split here in genre. We have a classic, we have some fantasy, adult, YA, contemporary, good genre mix. Yeah, I'm actually really looking forward to this. This is also, though, so random. My TBRs always look really random in terms of, like, there's no book here I think published art before 2021 maybe was the earliest this one of these books were published. Yeah, mostly old books, so I will probably get to other books throughout the month, maybe, we'll see. I do want to actually start putting on a manga series as a focus for the month as well, so I'm going to do that as well, and I think I'm going to randomly pick one. So let me grab my manga jar. This is something I forgot I wanted to do last month, but basically just put one series on and read as much of it as that I physically own as I can throughout the month, just a way of getting down the manga collection as well. So all of the series that I own that I haven't read are in here, so let's read one. Which one should we go for? We'll go for this one. This is just to add on. This doesn't count towards the TBR game though, guys. Neon Genesis Evangelion. That is easy because I have 1 volume of that. It is the 3-in-1 version, but That's a nice easy one. So this is actually the anime that I credit for getting me into anime in like 2005, I think it was. Me and my sister, basically, this was in the very early days of YouTube. This is when people would put songs on YouTube. I was trying to find a song, and I ended up finding a AMV for Neo Evangelion to a 3-Day Graces song called I Hate Everything About You, which wasn't the song I was searching for, but it had similar lyrics. And it was then watching that, I was like, this looks really cool. And at the beginning, me and my sister were kind of very adverse to reading anything in terms of subtitles because we couldn't really read very well as it was. So we were like, no, we want to listen to it in English. We went on eBay, bought the whole series of this, which I still own. Quite expensive, actually, now that I think about it. And then binged it, and then that led us down the rabbit hole of watching things on YouTube in terms of anime. At the time, because again of the copyright, you could watch the anime on YouTube in 3 parts of 1 episode. And so yeah, we got very quickly into being like, okay, if we're gonna watch it, we're gonna have to get into subtitles. So we did, and yeah, the rest is history. And like, it's so funny when you think about things like that, of how one little thing can quite drastically change your life and your interests and your hobbies. When I think about the amount of stuff that I've done or gotten into from that first video from like anime is insane. So I actually though have never read the manga for this series. This is a sci-fi mech series about a group of kids that end up getting recruited into, I think it's a government program, but to power these giant mech creatures and to fight aliens, I think. Loved the anime. I've never really watched it though, so I really would like to do that one day. But yeah, this is the original source material, I guess. And I adore the kind of 90s style of this series. I really, that's again, it just hits those nostalgia points for me. So yeah, definitely will read this throughout February as well. This is going to be the only one though that I'm going to guarantee that I'm hopefully going to read. And then yeah, eventually, probably not this year, maybe next year, I want to get back into buying some more manga series because it's been ages since I've really bought some, but I want to like finite it a bit more and not just buy loads of random series and instead try and utilize like subscription services where you can like pay again monthly to read a certain amount of chapters or whatever. That is something I'd like to do. Anyway, that is going to be added in for February as well. If you guys want to let me know any books that you are reading, that you are looking forward to reading throughout the month of February, please let me know. I am not up to date on any new releases whatsoever. No idea what's coming out, no idea what people are hyped about. So if you have any that you're hyped about coming out, do let me know. I'd love to know. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. If you just want to let me know you're here, leave a little robot in the comments. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for all your support throughout January. If you might have noticed, I've been trying to post at least 1 video a week. I've been successful so far. That is the goal, is hopefully eventually to do 2 videos a week, but it's basically either a video and a short a week. And so far, throughout 2026, I have succeeded in this. So the reading hasn't been up to top notch, but the video has not slacked. So I'm really happy with that. And I've been so happy with the kind of like, you guys interacting with it as well. It's been so lovely. So thank you so much. And I will see you again, hopefully, definitely soon. Bye guys.